I lost 110 pounds, and I want to tell you something that I think is going to sound a little insane. I ate pizza almost every week, sometimes cake, ice cream too. And I didn't cheat. This isn't a cheat meal. I just ate it. I love ice cream. I ate a lot of ice cream while I was losing weight. So I'm going to show you exactly how that works. And more importantly, why the people who told me to cut it out completely were actually setting me up to fail. This video is about a decision I made at the very beginning of my weight loss journey that changed everything, legitimately. And I believe it's the reason why I've been able to keep my weight off instead of bouncing back like I had my entire life. So stick with me on this one. It's a good one. So before I lost the weight, I had tried basically everything. Low carb, cutting sugar, no junk food. I was on a very strict diet for a long time where I really starved myself and I lost a ton of weight. But I gained it all back. Every time I would go really hard for a couple of weeks or months, and then something would happen. It was a birthday party, a work meeting, just a get together, going out to dinner with family. And a switch flipped where it almost felt kind of like, well, I blew it, so this night's ruined, might as well kind of go all in. And then it just spiraled out of control from there. Or I would go on an extremely strict diet. I would shut myself away from all opportunities to end up at birthday parties and have cake and never touching any of the things that I enjoyed. And I would lose a ton of the weight, but I would get to my goal and then stop the extreme dieting. And within a year or two, it all came kind of rushing back, sometimes dramatically more. I did this my entire life. I've told this story multiple times, but this might sound familiar to you. This is a super common struggle for people. And every diet that I tried had the same common list of ingredients that were not allowed. No pizza, no ice cream, no sandwiches, no carbs, no fun, no, you just cannot have these things, otherwise you fail. And the thing is I didn't figure out the 110 pounds by finding a stricter diet. I figured it out by stopping that cycle altogether. And the way that I decided from day one was that nothing was off limits. I'd figure out a way that I could find a diet that I could live with for the rest of my life and never change. That's it. That's the whole trick. No. So I want to tell you about the first time I had pizza during my diet because it really was a turning point for me. I was so nervous after years of going back and forth, but realizing that it was okay was a game changer. But first, the thing that was secretly destroying every diet that I ever tried, and I didn't even know that it actually had a name. There's a psychological concept that researchers discovered back in the 80s called the abstinence violation effect. You can Google it. It's a real published study here. So here's how it works. You set a rule like no pizza, no carbs. And then one Friday night, there's a party, somebody has a pizza, so you take a slice. And something happens in your brain. You broke the diet, and instead of thinking, one slice, let's move on, your brain goes into the what the hell effect. You already broke it, you might as well have some more. Enjoy yourself. That's what I was talking about earlier. And then you wake up the next morning feeling like garbage. But you start the diet over again and you try your best. Researchers actually studied this. They found that people make internal global attributions when they break dieting rules. Meaning your brain, you start to think that this is a me problem. You start to place a blame because of the rule. If there's a rule broken, there has to be a fault, and that fault is on you. When that happens, the next binge or the next break or the next cheat comes significantly faster. It was the self-blame that was the accelerant. It was the fuel to the fire of weight gain. I thought I had bad willpower. I really thought there was something wrong with me. The diet caused the binge. The rule caused the violation. If there's no rule, there's nothing to violate. So I'm someone who dives into the research on just about everything. And for some reason, I was still using my old plastic clunky toothbrush. It was one of those electric toothbrushes that constantly needed recharging. It died every single week. And that's why I wanted to tell you about today's sponsor, Suri. Suri is a sleek sonic toothbrush with a slim aluminum body, plant-based brush heads that they actually recycle for free, and a battery that lasts over a month. I have not charged this thing since I've gotten it. It's gone on 2 trips with me. Plus, it's got a pressure sensor so you're not destroying your gums, and this little magnetic mount that just clips right onto your mirror. No cord, no clutter, it just works. And works really, really great. This is my favorite toothbrush I've ever had. Plus, it comes with this really cool UVC cleaning travel case for a hygienic portable routine. It's pretty amazing. So gang, if you care about what you eat, how you train, how you recover, your toothbrush should get the same energy. Use my code SAUCE15 to get an extra 15% off Suri, and you'll see why I love this thing so much. Suri, thanks for sponsoring today's video and for making such an incredible toothbrush. Now, this isn't just physiology, there is actual data, actual science, actual research behind this. In 1999, a study that looked at 223 people and compared 2 types of dieters, rigid and flexible. Rigid dieters had strict rules, forbidden foods, all or nothing approach. The flexible dieters tracked what they ate. They stayed in a calorie deficit, but they had no forbidden foods. The results weren't subtle. They found a correlation with flexible dieting that people ended up with lower body weight, less overeating, a lower rate of depression and anxiety surrounding food. And then again, in 2021, a randomized controlled study again compared flexible to rigid dieters over the course of 20 weeks. Though in this study, both groups lost the same amount of weight. But the flexible group had better psychological outcomes. And when the diet phase was over, the flexible group kept more lean mass. So flexible dieting might not be the lazy version of weight loss, it might actually be one of the smartest ways. Okay, so we've covered the psychology of why forbidden foods is actually the reason why most people blow their diet. But I know I'm still leaving some unanswered questions. How do you eat pizza and ice cream and still lose weight? Like, mechanically, how does that work? Am I eating diet pizza or diet ice cream? Because that's not it. Now, I've talked about this before on the channel, but I'm going to break down exactly how it plays out in a real day of eating. Because when I show you the numbers, it's totally going to make sense. So the actual engine of how this works. Dieting comes down to one thing, regardless of how you feel about it or not. Your body needs to burn more calories than you consume to lose weight. That's it. That's not my opinion. That's physics. Regardless of what you've heard online from doctors or people who claim to be doctors, it's a rule of energy. That's physics. That's the American Dietetic Association, the NIH, and basically every nutrition association on the planet. The food type will determine how you feel. Absolutely. Emotions, genetics will determine how your body runs and how many calories you burn. But in the end, the food doesn't determine if you lose weight or not. A slice of pizza is roughly 250 to 350 calories, depending on what's on it. A couple scoops of ice cream, again, is around 200 to 300 calories. In a day, if I am targeting, say, 1,800 calories, which is what a fairly moderate deficit looks like for me, those calories fit, and they actually fit comfortably if the rest of my day is built right. Now, you've seen some of my other videos where I talk about 1 pound, 2 pounds, or 3 pounds of food for a lower amount of calories. The point of that style of eating is you're going to consume a lot of food, volume, food that's going to fill your stomach and digest slowly, so that way you feel fuller longer for a lower amount of calories. Now, if you were to eat like that and eat 3 giant meals a day, you're going to end up on a very low caloric input for the day, which sometimes isn't that great. That's gonna make you feel sluggish or tired. And yes, you will lose weight much quicker, but you also want to feel good while you're doing it. So eating foods that are high in fiber, high in water content, those are things that will make you feel fuller. Eating a large potato, fairly low calories, incredibly high on the satiety rankings. Ice cream and pizza does not keep you feeling full, but only a small part of your life, you can continue to have it. Vegetables, fruits, legumes, big salads, soups that you can repeatedly have. And you're always feeling full. You're always feeling like you don't need to snack. You will feel satisfied and have room, caloric room at the end of the day to enjoy pizza or ice cream. It's not a reward. It's not a cheat. It's just a random Tuesday, and that's okay. Now, the calories in, calories out model is heavily disputed online, but it is not disputed by scientific fact. We are incredibly bad at counting calories. I've talked about that a lot. We are incredibly bad at estimating our expenditure and how much we're actually moving. And we are incredibly bad at estimating what our resting metabolic rate is, how much calories we actually need for the day to survive. But when meals are built around foods that will keep you full and satisfied at very low calories, it makes it a lot easier to get those estimates closer. And it also makes it easier to maintain a calorie base because weight loss happens over a large period of time. You don't gain weight by having a lot of food in one period of time. You gain fat by eating over your metabolic rate consistently. So maintaining a deficit on an average over a week, a month, a year, you will lose weight. And then things like the pizza, the ice cream are just examples that I used. Whatever you enjoy, if it's the waffles or just the things that you have given up in the past because of a diet, can just become a normal part of your daily life. If somebody has pizza, it will be okay to eat it and it won't be known as a cheat and you don't have to binge it because it's not gonna be the last time you're gonna have it for months. So I told you I would come back to my pizza story. I had the first time I ate pizza during my 110-pound weight loss, and it was a deliberate, planned meal. I actually remember feeling I kind of remember feeling almost bad. Like I was waiting for the guilt to hit, and it didn't. It was a very surprising moment. I kept eating foods that would keep me full. I felt good about those foods. In my health, I felt energy, and nothing changed. No guilt trips. And things really started to click because I realized that I really enjoyed all of the foods that I loved before. I didn't have to feel bad like I would in the diets before, to where I'd have to eat a lot of them because it was gonna be the last time that I was gonna have it for months, or I gotta cheat today because I'm not gonna get another cheat day for 2 more weeks. That was the worst. I hated those feelings. And it really is when I realized that the diets that I was doing in the past were not hard because I didn't have willpower, or I just didn't have what it took to be thin and fit. It was hard because the rules themselves were the problem. Now here's why I want to push back. I hear people talking about it like in the gym. There was somebody in the locker room the other day, like they were talking about their overweight buddy and how he just didn't do it right. And if he just ate lean, cut out sugar, he could just do it. And he doesn't want to do that. Who wants to do that? I mean, maybe if that's what you want to do, eat that way for sure. But most people don't want to do that. Maybe not most, a lot of people. I didn't want to do that. I know a lot of you are thinking like, it's like, okay, you could eat pizza, you could eat this ice cream. That means you could eat whatever you want, which is exactly what I've been saying. But you can't eat whatever you want whenever you want and still lose weight. I really strongly recommend tracking, even a month. And you can even go in phases to where you track for a month and then jump off of it for a couple months and then jump right back in. That's kind of what I do. Track everything in your diet so that way you know exactly how many calories you're eating. If you are gaining weight and you are not working out excessively working out to where you're gonna be building like a ton of muscle. If you're just working out normally and you're gaining weight, that means you're eating too many calories. If you're losing weight rapidly, you're probably not eating enough calories. You want things to be steady. 1 to 2 pounds is actually fairly active. Maybe a half of a pound, 1 pound a week. But once you track, you can start to see over a period of time, not day to day, but over a period of time, if you're in a deficit or if you are calorie positive. Tracking gives you the truth. It's what you do with that truth that matters. And what I was able to do was build a life to where I can go out and eat. I can eat pizza and pastas and all of the carbs that I want. Because when you start tracking, a weird thing happens. You start to see the actual calorie costs of food. And it changes how you think about them. That's what it did to me, and that's what a lot of the research says. You start to have a realization of what you're putting into your body. A normal slice of cheesecake is around 450 calories. 2 slices of pizza be around 600. Big bowl of pasta is around 800 calories. You can eat all of those things, but when you see the numbers, you just start making choices, inactive choices. It's because you learn that 1 slice actually satisfies you, a little bit more satisfying to your overall day. Over time, your tastes just evolve. The things that I really enjoyed before I lost the weight are now completely different. I have tried sometimes to, I've been in the feeling of like, I really want this particular sandwich, and I try it and I don't actually enjoy it anymore. My entire flavor personality has changed. After a few months of eating foods that satisfy me in a different way, the way that I think about food has completely evolved. My relationship with food completely shifted. And I stopped eating foods quickly just because they were in front of me. And that only happened because the foods were no longer forbidden. The dieting phase of my life, the ups and downs, the yo-yoing, ended. I've just been able to live a healthy life because of getting rid of these rules. If you've tried strict diets multiple times and it still has not worked, regardless of which diet you've chosen, I'd genuinely ask yourself, could the problem be the rules and not you? I don't talk about my weight loss in these videos as a way to brag. Hopefully, my goal is to inspire you so that hopefully you can find the life that I've been able to find because of this. I spent years being told it wasn't possible. I never imagined in my entire life that I would do the things that I've done over the last couple of years. And I want all of this data, all of the things that I have learned to be able to help some people find that as well.
That was the best thing I've ever done in my life. Thank you so much. London's amazing. London's amazing.
If this resonated with you, please click the subscribe button. That's what this channel is all about. And that's what we're going to be doing moving forward. I have plenty of videos on how I built some of these volumetric foods, which gives you a blueprint so that way you can kind of build your own. You don't have to build them exactly the same. They're not recipe one for one, which is great about this style of eating. Drop a comment. I want to know what foods you've been told you can't eat. Let's discuss that because there's so many of them and they're wrong.